Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back to your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we are going to be talking about XDC Network, aka XDC. So with that being said, I hope that you are all having a beautiful day or a beautiful night wherever you guys are out there in the world. At the end of the day, I do think that everyone should be watching these undervalued and overlooked gems right now because it is so damn crucial to understand where we are headed in this market. We are going to see increased regulation, increased adoption, and increased focus on these utility assets. XDC is so damn crucial to focus on because guess what? Trade finance is at the forefront of this digital revolution. There was a post that got posted on the xdc.org website, and it's Vantage Point. TradFi increasingly adopts blockchain. If we scroll down, we see that real world assets drives engagement at the intersection of crypto and TradFi. This year has seen a noticeable increase in blockchain adoption by traditional finance. Financial institutions are catching on to blockchain's benefits in a way that are bolstering the technology's image and usage. Whether it is tokenized cash deposits, overnight repurchase agreements, or other financial management strategies for their clients, financial institutions are leaning into blockchain-based finance more than ever, and real-world asset tokenization is at the forefront of this movement. It's more than an industry buzz term. We have while RWA has existed in the blockchain space for several years as digital representations of off-chain assets, it has recently gained significant traction with more traditional asset classes. To be clear, RWA in blockchain is not related to the more conventional RWA acronym, meaning risk-weighted assets, or banks' off-balance sheet exposures weighted by risk. Rather, RWA has taken on its own meaning in the blockchain industry recently and has been a catalyst for network usage and digital asset adoption this year. We actually have down here that real world assets are an object lesson in the genius and power of blockchain. In crossing both legal and technological frontiers, they have the potential to invigorate TradFi and provide highly attractive new investment opportunities. We actually have down here that this is going to be a market that could have a projected growth all the way up to $10 trillion in favorable market conditions by 2030. Up from 118 billion today. The signs are there. In the current bear market, tokenized private credit and US treasuries have already grown to $1.3 billion, and it is still rising. And also, as we really look at what's going on here, I personally believe that tokenization is the next step. I mean, we already have the ETFs, right? So this is the next big area where we actually have back in 2023, TradeTech issued the USTY token on the XDC network. USTY gives investors exposure to a multi-billion-dollar highly liquid ETF that is indexed to short-term US government bonds. The tokens are issued through digital securities provider Securitize, which, by the way, for those out there that actually don't know about Securitize, definitely go look into this company because this is an absolute giant. I'm pretty sure that I included it already in a previous video. But the names that are tied to this company are very substantial players from JP Morgan, the SEC, Barclays, Google, and the list goes on and on. So definitely focus on that. But beyond that, right, like this is only going to continue to accelerate. Tokenization is a massive focus. And I do think that there's a ton of money to be made this year and leading all the way to 2030 through investing in significant players that are already at the forefront of the tokenization boom. So definitely focus on XDC when it comes to that. But beyond that, trade finance. Big shout out to Crypto Airy for this. Understanding trade finance with Andre Casterman. Trade equals real goods, coffee, sugar, vehicles. Opportunity equals infamous trade finance gap, $2.5 trillion and only growing, by the way. Solution equals XDC network, blockchain tech, transparency, standardization, packaging invoices with tokenized product to fund the gap. It's all focused on tokenization. That's why I say, as we look at the tokenization boom, this thing is only going to continue to balloon into a much larger beast than it already is.
How is trade finance as an asset class developing? Is there anything happening?
The demand for trade finance is growing, also a good fact, but the negative in this is that especially the smaller businesses, which constitute the majority of businesses actually around the globe, still have a very hard time finding the finance they need. And everyone has, of course, heard about the infamous trade finance gap that at some point was quoted by the Asian Development Bank at, I think, 1.5 trillion US dollars per annum. We're now at 2.5 trillion and growing. So there is still a lot to be done, but I think the overall message is this is a growing asset class. There's a lot of demand. The question is just how can we fill this?
Mark, how do you see this asset class developing on your side?
So it's important to actually understand what the asset class is, and it's important to look that it's the real economy. So it's real goods, it's coffee, it's sugar, it's vehicles, it's toys, it's actual products and services being traded, typically cross-border. And as Niels rightly said, that gap is growing. There's larger demand, and the points is why. And the reason it is because if we look back and we understand from a macro perspective, with inflation, with the number from regulatory burdens and changes that are going on, it's meant that there's an increased demand for capital in the space. It means that there is a big funding gap. So alternative lenders are stepping in, and we're seeing more and more come into the market to basically fund into that gap, fund SMEs all the way through to large corporates, and provide greater capacity at smarter but also faster.
Yeah, okay. So Niels, on your side, we hear many promising developments, but how can we scale this market to really legitimize this trade asset class?
Well, what do these funders need in order to really fill this gap? They need two things chiefly. One is transparency and one is standardization. So transparency is important because you really need to understand what's happening in your portfolio. To give you a very concrete example of a portfolio that we're seeing on our platform, that's 400,000 invoices to be funded on day one. Yeah, there's no way that you can deal with this on a spreadsheet. You need technology to help you, and there's already the answer to this question. You have to bring in technology to create this transparency. The other issue is the standardization. As a non-specialized funder, as a non-bank funder, I cannot go out and buy 400,000 individual invoices. I need a way to package this, to transform these invoices into an investable product. And again, that's something where technology can help. That's something actually that we at Trade Tech do. We provide both these aspects, the standardization and the transparency that you need to really understand what's going on in your portfolio.
Now, if this video did sound familiar, it is because I included it in a recent video when I was talking about XDC as well. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I want to shift the conversation into the next area, which is this article that got posted on the 25th, towards 2030, how ecosystem offerings will transform trade finance's future. Now, do you remember what he just said there, right? He's talking about why we need something that is digital that can track things in a transparent manner. Blockchain tech is the thing for this. You need those invoices. When you're talking about 400,000, invoices coming in, or at the most, the peak, I mean, we're talking possibly hundreds and millions of invoices on a day-to-day basis. I mean, think about the global demand for trade finance, right? You need something that is digital. The paper processing around trade finance is ridiculous. So as we look at this, we look at automation. We look at how can these things move towards a much more simpler and efficient manner. Well, it's technology. Technology behind this is the thing that we need to focus on. Now, in this article, we get a few viewpoints into what's happening. So first and foremost, up here we have, across the typically staid area of trade finance, despite the importance of trade finance products and services to global trade growth and economic development, decades of paper-based processes, regulatory mismatches, and monolithic financial infrastructures have historically stymied innovation. Now, again, this is what I'm talking about. When we are addressing some of these markets, they are extremely outdated in terms of what they are running on. For an example, trade finance is running on paper still in 2024. But we are almost at the second half of the 2020s, and as the decade nears its finish line, a foundational shift is coming to the trade finance sector. That's not me telling you guys. We are already aware of this. Like, we have been talking about this for a while, but we are now hearing it from major individuals. And you might be questioning, who are those individuals? Well, it's people from Citi. Here's the head of payments at Citi Services. They told Payments this month, January 12th, that as more commerce moves online, companies that have historically been linked to what might be thought of as traditional supply chains are now increasingly dealing directly and digitally with a whole different set of counterparties, demanding that trade financing is firmly woven into the technological infrastructure linking buyers and suppliers. So now the demand for digital infrastructure layers and automated workflows, it's so damn crucial. So now, over the next 6 years, heading towards 2030, what we are going to see is blockchain, AI, machine learning, all of this incorporated into the fundamental layers. This is getting very interesting. And here we have a paradigm shift in risk assessment as well. Again, they're talking more so about the paper documentation and the process behind that. It's a very lengthy risk assessment and underwriting process. Now we are talking about more AI-driven algorithms that are going to automate the entire workflow and a lot of these major processes that are extremely lengthy, that are, it's just inefficient, it's time-consuming. So now we look at things like AI and Internet of Things technologies. And when we talk about that, again, it's more so focused on blockchain and things like that. So at this point in time, we are looking at the most efficient ones. But there was also another great article that got written in the beginning of the year, 2024 predictions, what's in stock for tech, for trade, treasury, and payments in the year ahead. And this is 2024, right? Now, when we scroll down, again, they're talking a little bit more about some of the growth behind trade finance. They even talk about Ripple with MasterCard, Swift, Visa, things like that. These are major infrastructure layers. But down here, we get a quote from the digitalization and business development at SureComp. And this is, we expect 2024 will see an increased use of APIs as standards are put in place and technology providers expand their portfolios. Now, for everyone out there, because I know that a lot of people always have these questions, they're always saying, when is XDC going to blow up in price? When are, these assets going to start pumping? We always hear about utility. We always hear about this, that, whatever, but there's no price action. Well, this is exactly what it is, right? API. APIs are so crucial because it's plug and play technology. But we need standards behind them, and we need the standardization to be put in place in order for them to be actually adopted. Now, why is this crucial? Well, this is SureComp, right? This is SureComp talking about this. But the reason why I'm bringing this up and the reason why I'm addressing this is because when we go over to the ecosystem behind XDC Network, everyone is aware of TradeFinix. When we go to TradeFinix, we can actually see here on the description of this, TradeFinix is an open API platform that is compatible with legacy systems and ISO 20022 and allows users to share documents, supports decentralized credit data and decentralized KYC data with zero knowledge proofs. This is a fundamental change in the overall landscape of trade finance because this is specifically built for trade finance. It's a P2P trade finance platform. It includes everything: asset and project monitoring, private network interaction, smart contracts, post-trade settlements, counterparty risk mitigation, and increased liquidity. TradeFinix is the secret sauce, if you will, around the trade finance revolution with XDC. Now, the reason why I bring that up is because, again, that's the use of APIs. We are waiting for those standards to be put in place. And the best part about TradeFinix is that this can easily be compatible with the legacy trade finance systems, and this could revolutionize and digitalize all those systems. This is why I focus on what the big boys are saying. And when I say that, I mean the legitimate players out there that have been around these markets for so long and that are looking at the future of technology. And when we look at that, right, we look at artificial intelligence and machine learning because this will automate complex processes, improve risk assessments, and enable the creation of personalized financial solutions while also helping to combat trade finance fraud and support supply chain resilience. Now combine this with blockchain and DLT, and guess what? You have the perfect driver of the digital revolution behind trade finance. So as we look at this, 2024 is poised to be an absolute massive year for these big players like XDC. And again, even down here, we have an infrastructure revolution for payments. Payments are changing. Everything is changing. And I just want you all to understand at this current moment in time, how big of an opportunity we have in front of us. And the best part about this is TradeFinix and a lot of the big players that are already building out on XDC and what XDC has been focused on, they've been focused on all of this. Within XDC and even within TradeFinix, right? You have pretty much everything you need. Combine this with like Impul, for an example, which is real-time payments. This includes real-time settlement as well. This is also compatible with legacy systems. These are crucial. This is instant settlement. This is allowing you to quickly send and receive financial messages and payments. When you have this combined with TradeFinix, you have a complete revolutionized trade finance industry. This is why I do believe that XDC has been at the forefront of this. This is also why I believe that XDC will be extremely valuable in the future. And when I say future, I'm not talking about 10 years from now, 5 years from now. No, I'm talking about in the short term. I personally believe that XDC is going to blow up in this space and become an absolute giant. I really do think that everyone needs to start focusing on what matters here. Again, everyone loves looking at the price action, but what is going to drive the price action? It's utility. Yes, I know that we're still in a speculative market, but when we're talking about much larger valuations, when we're talking about $100 billion plus market cap for some of these tokens, what's going to get these tokens to that point is utility. And XDC is prepared for this digital revolution around trade finance. And again, that's why I wanted to play this video again, because it is a $2.5 trillion trade finance gap, but it's much larger than that. It is so much larger than that. It's only going to continue to grow. The trade finance space has been ripe for disruption for a very long time. It's still running on a lot of those inefficient, outdated processes. They need XDC, they need blockchain, they need AI, they need machine learning, and all of that combined with blockchain, it's a recipe for incredible growth. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, this has been Nick. Thank you guys for watching. Peace out.